Hi, welcome to Star of Appalachia podcast. This is Star and my friend Tree, and we're
Hello.
we're back to talk more about the Blue Star Kachina and Hopi End Times prophecy because we just couldn't get enough of it last time. We had more to say.
Yes.
So
Yeah, so we're operating under the assumption that, okay, this is happening. Fourth world's coming to an end. And yeah, so how's it happened before, huh?
so as you might remember from our last conversation, the Hopi have it that there have been three previous worlds to the one that we are now in, and each world ended with destruction due to disharmony arising among the human world inhabitants. And when the destruction takes place, the one-hearted people, the peaceful people, are led or guided to somewhere where they can wait out the disaster. And then after the earth is just basically destroyed and remade, they are led to emerge out into the next world. Each world is a little different. It has its own different challenges. And this is the fourth world, according to them. And a Hopi elder within the past 3 decades has been, or Hopi elders have been sounding the alarm saying the end of the fourth world is nearing. We are close to it. It's approaching. Get ready. Okay, so we're going to talk about the events, the cataclysms that ended the first three worlds according to Hopi myth.
Yeah. And actually, it was the Timaeus and Cretus dialogues with Socrates. They talk about it as well. Like there's a whole thing where Salon is talking to this guy in Egypt, and he says exactly the same thing. Like periodically, the world gets. So it's not just the Hopi. Everybody has a bit in this, and yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that before, and I will definitely check that out.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's that that's the weird dialogue where it's about like gods and spheres and gets into all kinds. We should do a we'll do a episode on that particular dialogue. It'll be a good one.
Okay, cool. The first world, we were doing some research and we cannot find any reference to the way in which the first world was destroyed. Perhaps Tree suggests it is happened so long ago that it is lost to all memory, even the most reliable long-term memory storage that we have, which is mythology. And the second world, however, the Hopi do have a an account of that one. That one, it sounds like it ended with a pole shift that resulted in frozen conditions. They even describe the pole shift action because in Hopi myth there is a pair of brothers, twin brothers, who live at the poles. Each one of them live at one of the poles, and it's their job, their responsibility. They're not human, but they're spirit beings. Um, Kind of hero folkloric characters as well, and their job is to like keep the world turning on its axis. Yes, the Hopi understood that the world has an axis. So the second world was destroyed when these twin brothers left their posts basically, and the planet spun the wrong way on its axis, and then that resulted in some frozen barren landscapes for quite a while. So there was a population bottleneck. The peaceful people survived and emerged into the third world. The third world was destroyed by a flood. and we're told that the reason for this was because every time the reason is because humans are getting a little cantankerous with each other, you know. It
Yeah.
they're
Get greedy,
getting greedy,
stupid, and yeah, just
mean,
assholes
violent. Yeah.
being jerks to each
They're
other.
being jerk. The humans are being jerks to each other, and so took Nong. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that is the spirit person who I described in one of our previous episodes as reminding me of a Christ figure, because he's responsible. He's the nephew of the creator, but responsible for actually creating the earth and using the power given him by the creator. And he's also responsible each time the peaceful people are led to their incubation point and out into the to emerge into the next world. He's responsible for saving them, so he's also a saving figure.
That's
um
like Abraxas in the Gnostic religions. That's the same. He's the same character, does the same. Talking about putting those together. I don't mean to interrupt, but I know I will forget it by the time we get to like Christian prophecies. But there is that correlation there with Abraxas as a figure that is closer to the creator than us, but can still travel between and is sort of a guardian spirit. So
we were talking about it earlier, and we think that the at least the third world, we're pretty sure, the destruction of the third world, if we were to take this as history, was the Younger Dryas impact, which still to this modern day, even though there's a lot of evidence for the Younger Dryas impact, is still not recognized by a plurality of people in that field.
because then if they have to acknowledge that, then it's pretty much their whole academia careers have been based on a lie.
Hmm.
Then they got to start writing all new papers and things.
Yeah, right.
But
So,
that's like such a bad, dumb way to go about it. Because I'm like, if there's a chance that there's ancient civilizations like buried like deeper than like previous to the Younger Dryas impact, finding one of those or exploring those would make archaeology like the sexiest science
yeah.
ever. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, people would be leaving boy bands to become archaeologists because it's like, how'd you like a star chamber named after you? You know,
Yeah,
they're playing it so wrong. It's just like, come on, guys, this makes you like Indiana Jones times 10
yeah.
if you find the ancient civilization stuff.
Right. Like loosen
Yeah,
up, and
yeah, yeah,
there's all kinds of things that can be explored in under the oceans, because if the people who support a Younger Dryas impact theory are correct,
yeah.
then what happened, what was it, 7,500 years ago, was it
12,000.
12,500 years ago,
Yeah,
um it would have resulted in um a flooding of then existing land masses that persists to this day, so that we would expect to find civilizations under ocean deeper than we would think. Like, there hasn't,
yeah.
in living human memory, there has not been any land there. But there are, in fact, ruins being discovered in deeper ocean. Not deep ocean, because we don't really explore
Yeah,
there, but deeper than you would expect.
yeah.
It given if something like this was not the case, you wouldn't expect to find civilizations as deep as they've found these ruins.
See, that's like Indiana Jones meets Waterworld. I'm like,
Come
guys, are you archaeologists like that, like well off, and everybody's flooding your doors to become archaeologists and think it's the neatest thing ever that you can like totally just arbitrarily shut the door on what could be like the coolest stuff ever
on.
discovered by humans just because you don't want to have to like rewrite a book you wrote 25 years ago to get tenure? Come on,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
Ugh, you guys.
But actually, here's the another thing is that part of the Hopi prophecy when the third world was destroyed and they found themselves eventually after a long journey, they found themselves in the Southwest Americas, right? Or Southwest North America, where the Hopi currently live still to this day. Um, and they did like it was a long journey. They had to survive in reeds, which kind of is reminiscent of Noah's Ark, but lots and lots of cultures have this same
Hmm.
story.
Hmm.
Um, it's it's ubiquitous all over the world to have a story, a cultural myth about a great flood that a few people survive in a boat or some kind of vessel, and then they repopulate the earth with those few people. And then usually there's also some kind of, or sometimes there's some kind of guide figure that comes along and like helps them relearn agriculture and stuff like that. So um,
So maybe
that's
like
one of those things that's just so
ubiquitous.
universal.
That was an awesome use of the word ubiquitous. I got to give props to that. But yeah, it's like, listen, if you live on a floodplain and you build a barn that floats, people are going to write about that. They're like, that's a good idea. Noah built a barn that floated. All his
Mhm.
livestock was great. Who knows how it goes from there?
Yeah, and so not just Noah, but in the Zoroastrian holy texts, there's a character who builds a great it's not really a boat, but it's like a building. It's an underground building for when the flood happens, and this thing has electric lights. I kid you not. I mean, it's not they're not like, and there were electric lights, glory be to Ahura Mazda. Like, but it's like described as some kind of weird orb that emits light to help crops grow in this underground thing that is completely waterproof. And you read that, and this is like ancient before the Bible, before the Hebrew Bible was written.
Yeah,
you know you're like, it's not quite as old as like the Enuma Elish, which also has a flood story, by the way.
yeah.
But it's old, and the story there is like some kind of underground fortress that's waterproof,
Hmm.
and you can grow plants inside, and they bring the animals in because they know the flood's coming, and these stories are all over the world.
Yeah.
So
Well, the Hopi call them the ant people, don't they?
well, the Hope, yes, so the in the Hopi version, they I believe they no, that's the second world. The Hopi people survive with the ant people in the second world. They're like underground, subterranean dwellers, that they actually call ant people. And then they say, because the ant
Came up
people
and
were
did the third world.
right, and they
Oh, and
lived
you
in
know
a
what? And those guys, they were like, oh, F it. We got away with it last time. Let's keep being dicks and see what happens. And they're like, get smacked down
oh, you
again.
think because I
Yeah.
always thought it was true. I always like figured it was true that like the dicks were
Oh, wiped out.
ended.
Yeah, that's right. So
Yeah.
so it just took however many years for like a-holes to get back into the breeding population.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, the second world, they lived in the ant with the ant people, and they remembered that ant hill technology later when they in the fourth world when they came to the Southwest United States. But it wasn't the United States then, of
Yeah.
course, but you know geographically speaking, in present day the southwestern United States. And now they build kivas, which is like an ant hill too.
Hmm.
And but in the third world destruction, it was a flood. So they were given reeds, hollowed out reeds to sort of, ride it out in. And and then once some land had appeared, they kind of island hopped until they reached their permanent home in North America. So part of the myth, now this is I started out saying this like 100 sentences ago, and I'm finally coming around to my point. So that, that's me. But they say part of the myth is, or part of the prophecy is, that when these events start happening, that the fourth to fifth world changes start happening. Those islands that they hopped to get to the North America will arise out of the ocean, or the ocean will
Sink.
sink to reveal it, depending on your interpretation. So that could be something that happens. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to check out volcanic activity and stuff.
Hmm.
See, I was wondering though, because if like when the third world ended and wiped out Atlantis and stuff, and probably at that point there were like indigenous folks that they had like left alone. And so like the few handful of survivors from Atlantis that got wiped out with the Younger Dryas impact found their way to some of these tribes folks and taught them what they knew. Like, if I'm like out and about and all of a sudden my city, my civilization is destroyed, and I'm like, oh, here are some folk that I've seen, and so like that, and that's why like these things sort of popped up at the same time in various parts of the world, because there were like
Hmm.
survivors spread out, and so it was like, what did they put in underneath those like Gobekli Tempe and those other
Hmm.
uh, sites that we're talking about earlier, like underneath may have like pre-Younger Dryas impact stuff to it.
Hmm.
So I always thought that, like the white cousin, the guy with the beard. So when the Aztecs came back, they're like, "Oh, these are the guys we saw from Atlantis that showed us how to do all this stuff." And they were like, "No, not quite."
Yeah, sure. And in if you wanted to kind of have a modern day parallel, like imagine if some great cataclysm ended the world for all intents and ended civilization in the present day, and you had just a very, very small number of people left, little groups here and there around the world who for somehow had survived the catastrophe. And one of those groups happened to be like Sam Altman, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and a bunch of like mega rich dudes who all of a sudden have this great guilt, and they're like, wait, we might have been partially responsible for this catastrophe. Well, what can we possibly, and look, we spent our whole lives and all of our fortunes like trying to create this great Tower of Babel, basically. Um, and it's come to nothing. There's nothing left to conquer. There's nothing left to, the AI is gone. There's nothing left to do with all of everything that we poured our like stupidly poured our life's work into. But there's just a small, tiny remnant of the human race, and we've had a change of heart. Let us board our seafaring vessels, our rich yachts, our rich
Yeah.
crypto bro yachts, and sail around the world and teach these poor people how to farm corn, because they obviously don't know, because they're 21st century people and they're used to getting their food from Walmart. So let us sail, brothers, let us sail. And so then Sam Altman and Elon Musk and Peter Thiel like show up on the coast of Guatemala or whatever, and teach I mean, I'm sure the Guatemalans are going to be good, but
Yeah.
somewhere like LA, well, LA will be gone, never mind. Like they
Probably.
show up,
Probably.
no, hold on, I got it. They
Okay.
show up on the coast of Denver,
Yeah.
and they're like bros.
All right.
You can farm other things besides weed.
Yeah.
Let us show you.
So there we go. So maybe, and that's why it was just like the bit of the whatever that caused the Atlanteans to be wiped out with their third world got wiped out in the fourth world. Not only did they instill certain like technologies and sciences, but also certain negative things. And I don't
Yeah.
know if I would take immortality. If some like all of a sudden deific figure or aliens came down and were like, "All right, sorry it took so long to get here, but we're here now. We can help you. We can heal all your wounds. We can make you live, and just I'll be like, nah, I'm good. Well, that
Yeah.
look like that's a little too convenient for me. I'm too cynical.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, you don't think Sam Altman and Elon Musk are gonna have a change of heart?
no,
You don't
no.
believe
They're
in
like,
redemption?
oh, it's really? So I just put my soul in this bottle you have, and then I can live. Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm probably gonna eat them. I'm probably gonna eat them and move on to their yacht.
Well, part of my personal philosophy and mythology about the world is that anyone at all, everyone is redeemable,
Mm,
but they have to choose, and that's a hard choice, especially when you've spent your whole life doing one thing and not caring.
yeah,
It's hard to first of all see that you need to redeem yourself. And then once you've seen it, it's hard to change, make the change to voluntarily participate in the redemption.
yeah. You need to get visited by three ghosts.
Yes. Yes. Good
Well,
call.
probably. You know what? And maybe it'd be like three. Like, how many life-threatening, life-altering experiences do you think a person has to have on average before they make that change?
I think it depends on how dense we are.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the consequences keep getting worse and worse till you're like, oh, I should probably not be doing this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it works the same with like larger populations, which is a topic I'm sure we'll get into in
Oh
plenty
yeah.
of future conversations. But do you think we covered the previous world endings enough?
Yeah, no, I think it's fun. It's like it's a fun thing to talk about and think about, but it's almost like the equivalent of, say, you're on the Titanic, it's sinking. You're like, you can either, wait in line for a boat, assume you're going to get rescued, assume it's not going to sink, be like, there's a lot of stuff that floats here. Why don't we make our own boat? Or you can go to the captain's office, pull out his maps, and see if you can figure out exactly what the numerical identification of the iceberg you might have hit is.
Right.
It's like, be like, hey
Perfect.
guys, I figured out what iceberg. It's one of these three iceberg numbers that we hit, and
Perfect
everybody's like,
analogy. So, Kachinas. So
mhm.
we were like, the first episode, we were all Kachina, 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 but we never actually defined
Yeah,
what the F that is.
yeah,
So, and it's not an easy thing to explain. Um, so the most popular instance of kachina in today's like lingo is you go to the Southwest and you buy these little kachina dolls. They're just Native American crafts that Hopi and Pueblo people and maybe some other tribes sell. It's part of their creative traditions. And so that's one thing. And then they also call kachinas like the costume dresses, the dresses that they use in ceremony, the outfits. If you have more dirt on this and you know better than I do what it is, please do like Anybody who's listening, please do help me understand this. But this is to the
Help us
best of
understand.
my, not you per, well, if obviously Tree, if you're holding out
No, no,
some
no, no,
like
no. It's
more
like help
detail.
us understand it. But no, I think you're
Yeah.
doing great.
Right. So I don't, so to the best of my knowledge, I would explain it like this. A kachina is the spiritual essence of anything and everything in the universe. Um, so everything, so like a rock, uh, a an idea like democracy, um, a planet, a star, a person, a great event. I think, and you could have
Anything that
kachinas.
happens in the material world is
Maybe like
Katrina.
I think you can have a kachina that's like a guardian spirit for a certain type of animal, or a kachina that represents like um a certain insect or a certain neighborhood of or like not neighborhood but like a tribe or a subgroup within a tribe. So I think a kachina is like kind of like uh a soul. We don't really have a parallel concept in English because it's like a soul spirit, but also like the essence of an idea, or the energetic signature of an inanimate, what we would think of as an inanimate object. So like I believe, based on my reading, that all of these things would fit into kachina category.
Okay.
um and I could be wrong, so I'm totally open to being corrected. But so, and then we talked about the blue star Kachina, which is often said to be a star that will appear in our sky that kind of signifies the beginning of all this stuff. But we failed to mention that the red star Kachina, or the red Kachina, the blue one comes first, the red one comes second. The blue
Mhm.
one is actually supposed to be like I think the blue one is supposed to be like it's on, and then the red kachina is the actual purifier. The
Mhm.
red kachina, so the blue kachina says the purification has begun, and then the red kachina comes in and actually does the purifying.
Okay. So now a red Kachina, kind of like Hal's Red Eye from 2001.
Yeah, or like the Eye of
So
Sauron, or I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, yeah. Well, like okay, like a Palantir stone where you can see a Eye of Sauron on there, right? Okay,
Yeah,
I mean he's not being too, not being too clever about it. It's just like
right.
so maybe that's the Red Star Kachina is represented by AI.
It could. And I just want to say that I've been thinking a lot about this in my little pea brain.
Hmm.
And it occurs to me that the ancients in many cultures not only had, I think when we moderns have this idea that when they were talking about like the planets and stars being associated with deities, that it's just like in a symbolic sense. But it seems more like, as I read some of these works from the ancients, that no, it was more like they were one. Like the concept of the planet and the concept of the god or goddess that they were associating with it were like so intertwined that it's not clear that there's actually a difference,
Hmm.
except not like they're not two separate categories. They're just like, this is how this um pure this is how this concept exists in the heavens. This is how this concept exists on earth, right?
Hmm.
And so you could have, and I don't, and this seems to when we're talking about kachinas, the kachina terminology seems to fit right in with that to me. So So you could have a star that appears in the sky that also has a referent on Earth, a similar, an equivalent, an Earth equivalent at the
Yeah.
same time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they might have just seen a flag that has a blue star on it and been like
Yeah, I mean,
causing a bunch of shit. Not saying anything more than that, but you know.
yeah, I mean, I think we should all, we've talked about Three Eye Atlas maybe being the blue star Kachina of Hopi myth. If there were an Earth equivalent, it might appear as a blue star that you would see
Hmm.
in your everyday life that seems to be causing a lot of destruction.
Hmm.
So just,
Hmm.
keep your eyes peeled for that.
Yeah, blue stars on flags and causing yeah. Huh.
Hmm.
And I would just like to go ahead and say I for one welcome the purging of the AI overlords and humbly submit myself before you for judgment.
Wait,
I'm
you
playing
crossed
ball
your
with them.
fingers right.
What? No, I didn't. What?
Yeah, you did. I
No.
saw that shit.
What? Oh man.
I saw that. I'm telling on you. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, so,
So
I
then
think
that's not the Red Star Kachina. So let's do that's the start of the purge. The Eye of Sauron. Those guys are all into like that symbology and Palantir. So I'm like, why couldn't AI be the agent of purge?
right. And these guys have even come out and said,
Yeah.
I think Sam Altman for sure and Elon Musk for sure have both come out and said that they either believe or have a hard time not believing that AI is going to be the end of the world, that AI will lead to total world destruction, but it's going to happen anyway. So, you know,
Might as well become the
my,
richest monkey on a rock floating in space.
right.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Congratulations. You've now got more money than everybody else on this rock combined. That's like Thirst and Howl the Howls from Gilligan's Island. You know, that's like being
I'm
the rich people from Gilligan's Island.
right. It reminds me of this song I saw recently. It's basically a story song about this ruler who wants to conquer the whole earth, the whole planet, and then he runs out of places and peoples to conquer. So his advisors advise him to build a tower out of the dead bodies all the way to the moon. And once he's on the moon, he can conquer that, and then he'll find more enemies in the sky. But once he gets up there, his advisors begin to point out to him how small all of his achievements look from that great distance, and there's no one left to kill and nothing left to conquer, and there's no enemies to kill in the sky. And it's kind of that's kind of the where we find ourselves, the point
I
at
know.
which I will have to find that later. I don't remember the guy's name, but
We
I'll
can
have to
put a we
find
can
it.
put a link in the notes.
Right. I will put it in the show notes when I edit this. It's a great song. I'm really impressed with it.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother conversation. We can talk about like those dudes think they're going to ride this out. You
We are
know,
going to have a series of conversations about that.
yeah,
I've already been working up the notes for that
nice,
one.
nice. All right,
But
cool.
that's not this one.
No, no, no. So Kachina's the agent of age. So that's kind of funny. If it is AI that is the agent of purification, then the best you can hope. So then the AI has access to all like knowledge, right? So it'd be
Hmm.
able to read original Greek texts of scriptures,
Hmm.
Latin stuff, Sanskrit things. It would understand all of that. And what the conclusion it's going to come to is like, okay, these folk are having a human experience. They're spiritual beings. These are gods, many gods. They're created from this sentient being, the earth. So they have that in them. Some of them may have been manipulated by advanced or alien forces. So some of them have stardust and earth stuff to them, and it's like there's just a few folk that are making it hard and you know impeding that process.
The red Kachina could easily be an asteroid or a comet or something. It's a red star. So that's always a possibility that it could be some kind of external cataclysm that meets with Earth. And
See, that would be funny. That would be funny. That would be cool because it's like arbitrary. It's like
yeah,
no matter how. And maybe that's the how you get to the fifth world is your civilization has to reach escape velocity. And in order to do that, you have to cooperate and share resources on a level that, and if you don't do that, a red star comes along and knocks you back.
could be, could
Mm.
be.
So what do you? But all right. So did the Hopi say anything about? So are we good with? Did the Hopi say anything about what they think this next will end our world? Any clue?
I have read one account that says that it's expected to be another pole shift. But um other than that, no. And not really sure. I can't really source that one.
Hmm.
Somebody said it and I can't figure out what their source was. So I'm just gonna discard that. We've already had a pole shift. Not saying that creator can't do the same thing twice, of course. He
Yeah.
can if he wants to, but um for for the purposes of figuring out the number of the iceberg,
Yeah.
um I think, hey, we've already hit that iceberg. We should look for another one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But on the other hand, here's the cold hard facts. Okay,
Yeah.
Tree.
Yeah.
We as a planet, our planet is overdue for a pole shift, a
Hmm.
supervolcanic eruption, and an asteroid strike, a major asteroid strike. These types of events happen every so often.
Hmm.
And it's been a long, 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 long time since any of them happened. And it's been, on average, a longer time than one would expect looking at the geological record.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I think it's not out of the question for it to just be a natural disaster.
Gotcha. So then, bringing it back to dystophoria, it's like it may not just be like at any moment the world could be snuffed out like that. So don't wait too long to stop being an asshole and
Right.
start being kind.
I
You
mean,
know?
and also the world wouldn't even have to be snuffed out. Like if you just stop being an asshole and it turns out that the world isn't snuffed out, you haven't lost anything, I promise.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.